Hey, what's going on, guys? The Beldam is back for a brand new video. And this is my first official video of the new year. So, happy 2023, everyone. And I hope that this year is, for some, if not most of us, I hope this year is a big improvement over the past few years that we had to endure, because we've all had to deal with a lot of stuff for these past few years. And I think in 2022 I've learned I want to do some changes upon myself. I wonder if I'm reflecting on. I posted in my community tab on here that I wanted to do more, I wanted to take care of my mental health better. I wanted to take care of my physical health better. And I wanted to improve I want to read more. I want to read more because last year was it was a bit of a bomb year for reading because I didn't read too many novels. And I wanted to change that moving forward. I'm going to start reading more adult fiction, because no one is forcing me to read the genre. I just feel like I'm getting really more interested in that one, and up until now I've read only young adult fiction. And nothing against young adult, it's a genre I really do enjoy. But it's not in terms of the age of it, I wanted to kind of, reach a little bit more into the age that I'm currently turning. I'm going to be turning 30 years old this year. And I know that's still pretty young, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's been 30 years. I'm trying to think on that. I don't know. It still feels it is young, but it just feels like you're still getting old, and old is there's no I just don't want to stop people. I don't want to call people old anymore because it's just a number. It's just a number, guys. I'm just saying. But I wanted to do stuff. I'm going to attempt to get my driver's license this year, since I've been putting it off for almost 10 years. It's just something I really just want to accomplish, even if I don't ever buy a car of my own. It's just having the license itself. It's just accomplishment in itself. Is you finally get to learn how to drive. And yeah, it's just a little bit of more challenges I'm working for myself, a little more accomplishments. But in this video, I wanted to just talk about 2 movies. This is my first, I'm going to do a double feature on this video. I'm going to be talking about 2 movies that are first time watches for me. And these movies aren't really recent. These are movies that came out that are well over a decade old now. But what's cool about first time watches is because I get to talk about movies that are first time watches to me, but they may be seen for decades for other people, so they know this movie, but it's the first time, so I get to experience it for the first time, I mean, last year I watched the Godfather trilogy for the first time. Yeah. And I enjoyed those movies. I can see why people really love them. They're just a bit too long for me. and they're really long. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about. I got my. I'm going to pull up Letterboxd, and let's just get started. And these are probably going to be quick and brief reviews, just to give my overall thoughts on the films. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is a movie that came out in 2012. It's on Tubi. It's called The Sleeper. And this is a throwback to sorority slashers of the 70s and 80s. Like the way it's like the aesthetic of it, it's very grainy. It looks almost like a film that would come out in the 70s or 80s. And that was intentional. But I've seen people talk, I've seen like reviews of this movie. I've seen people on the, I've seen reviewers of people I follow from this movie. They've been saying how it kind of rips off Black Christmas a bit, because the killer in this movie, he uses a phone. He makes these obscene phone calls to the sorority house, to the sorority girls, and he does this to select his next victim. And I just think it's a really different. I think the way he does it, like the phone calls are apparent in both films, but the way him and Billy differ is because Billy's history in the original Black Christmas is that the phone calls are giving a little bit insight into what is going on in Billy's head, and like a little bit of the family history that would come to fruition. We would see that in like the 2006 Black Christmas. And I'm not going to lose my train of thought on this one. I can see where they're coming from. I just don't think I don't really see it as a ripoff, as more as just like it's another kind of a recreation of that era of slashers. And the killer itself is very different from Billy. Like the weapon he uses the most in the film when he kills his victims is a hammer. And he does a lot of damage with this hammer when he's killing his victims. Like, he freaking just like the blunt trauma he uses to kill these people is so like, sometimes you just want to turn away from the screen. And like the first kill he uses, he just like bashes this girl's face in with the hammer, and you could kind of see her face being like all smushed in like that. And I mean, this is a low budget movie, so you could clearly kind of tell it's like an inflatable doll, but just like the creation of it is just like, ooh. And then, yeah, it's like it just follows like a lot of that slasher pattern. Like, he just like picks off these girls one by one, and the killer itself is really creepy because he's got these eyes that I think he might be blind, because his eyes are all like this milky kind of glassy thing. And whenever he is killing people, he says in like this dry, whispery voice, like, night, night. It's just like really, really eerie, you know? But I could see why people were comparing it to like the slashers of the heyday, because that's what it is. But I really enjoyed it. It was enjoyable, you know? For a sorority slasher, like, it kind of makes me, like, I enjoy these. I haven't seen a lot of these sorority slasher genres, but now I kind of want to, just to get an idea of, like, what this film was, like, homaging or just, like, making one of their own. But again, it's on Tubi, so I would recommend you guys give it a watch, and it's called The Sleeper. It's really worth a watch. And then, this is going to be interesting. The second film I watched, for the first time, I'm not making this up, I'm not kidding, I watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil for the first time today. And I gotta say, there isn't really that much to kind of get into with this one, because it's a horror comedy that came out in 2010, I believe. You probably have all seen it by now. It's about these two, quote, hillbillies who are, they go on a vacation to a cabin in the woods, and then just a series of, mishaps happen, and they're just so, the two actors playing them are just so charming and likable, and I was so surprised to see that one of the actors playing, I think it was Tucker. I think it was Tucker. He is played by Alan Tudyk, who I really know from mostly his work in recent Disney films. He was in Frozen, Utopia. He was in the live action Aladdin. But I was just so surprised because I know he's done. It's just surprising to see an actor from a family company doing a horror movie. But I think both of them did a really good job, and this movie has a little bit of a commentary. I know it's a comedy, but this movie has a commentary on how kind of a commentary of classes, if you will. It's a commentary on the high-end wealthy versus the blue-collar workers. And it's about these teens who, a series of mishaps, they just think that their friend has been abducted by these two guys who literally do nothing. They don't do anything with her. They keep her safe, but because she always ends up unconscious, so they always just think that they're going to kill her or eat her or something, because of this nonsensical belief that the hillbilly stereotype. And I should talk about the kills in this movie they're just great. They're so funny. One guy literally as he goes in to attack Tucker, he literally dives into a wood chipper head first, and they're just struggling to pull his legs out. And just their reactions are so freaking amusing. And there's also a bit of a romance between Dale and this girl, and the girl that they take back to their cabin because she remains unconscious. And then I just thought that was a really kind of sweet romance. I just and the girls that are in this movie are really beautiful. I guess that was the idea. And I will say, I was surprised to learn this little bit of trivia that one of the girls in the movie, one of the blondes, I was watching it, I was she looks so familiar. So I looked up to see what else she was in, and it turns out she was the blonde girl, and she was the blonde in Final Destination 3, the one that gets cooked in the tanning bed. But also going further back, she actually was Lori Ann in the 1990 It miniseries. She was the little girl that you see, the first victim that we see that was eaten by Pennywise, Tim Curry's Pennywise. That was her, and I was just oh my gosh, because she's a complete bombshell now. And she was cute back then, but she had a moment of, she had a few minutes of screen time in that movie, but she was oh my god, she's so gorgeous now. And I just thought that was really cool. So I gave I enjoyed both of these movies. I will say I really enjoyed both of them. So for my rating, I gave The Sleeper a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I gave Tucker and Dale vs. Evil 4 out of 5. Both really enjoyable. Both are on Tubi if you want to give them a watch. I really liked them. And by the way, Tucker and Dale Tucker and Dale vs. Evil was not at all what I was expecting. Just by the poster, I thought it was going to be a riff on Cabin in the Woods / like possession movies like Evil Dead. And I was kind of surprised that that wasn't the case. It was something completely different. So I was like, I'm glad I was kind of wrong on that regard. But it's still like a really fun, enjoyable movie. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will be coming out with more reviews of like movies that first time watches, newer movies, book reviews, etc. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Just thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys just for supporting it, you know? And I will see you soon with a new video.